Hey guys, I'm going to talk really quick about how to adjust your violin for tuning the best way possible. And this is not like the all right way. This is one of very many videos probably out there how to tune your instrument, and we're probably going to have another one, a more official one from a real violin player. I'm not a string expert, so I'm just going to do the best I can to talk you through and walk you through how to adjust the tuning on your instruments. The number one thing obviously we want to be careful of is to not break our strings, because if you break your string, well, you're going to need a new one, and I'm not sure how accessible those new strings are at this moment in time. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead, download an app, like a tuning app, or go to a website that will with and attach a microphone to it. Unless you can match the sound of when you pluck the string to the sound that the tuner is broadcasting, you're probably gonna want an app or a tuner that, so I'll show you this one. This is the one that I use. This is called Tonal Energy. This one, I think you do have to pay for it, but there are many different free ones out there that essentially they do the same thing. This one just has some other features for music teachers, which is why I paid for it. But one of the important things is if you pluck a string, you want it to read. You see the little green mark that went up? Okay, that means it's in tune. Okay, so if I knocked it out of tune, most of your strings are probably flat. Okay, you'll see that it's kind of yellow and it went way down here. Okay, and we want it to come up here to match the A sound. Okay, if I broadcast an A and I try to match it to that, that's really the best way to tune. But most of us don't have that ear yet, so the best we can do is kind of like how we tune guitars too. We pluck and we try to get the little symbol to match up to the note that we want. Okay, so the A string was first. Okay, so now my A is flat. It's very out of tune. Okay, you want to make sure that your fine tuners are not like super tight. Okay, so I'm gonna follow the A string. This is my A string. I'm gonna follow it up to the peg that it's attached to, and you're gonna look at the pegs. Okay, just face forward. All of these pegs, they're gonna turn the same direction. It's not like if you're used to other string instruments like guitar, it's not the same as guitar, where on the other sides they turn a different way to tighten it or loosen it. The violin is the same, righty tighty, lefty loosey. Same thing on the other side. Okay, so the A string peg is it. So if I'm looking at the A string and I'm looking at the scroll head on with the bridge facing to my face, the A string peg should be on the very top right. Okay, so if you're looking, it's right here. Okay, so the first thing is first, I'm gonna push in towards the scroll. I never want to pull on the peg, like pulling it out. You don't want to have the feeling of pulling the peg out of its peg box. Okay, so you want to push in a little, and actually you want to loosen it again. Okay, you always want to loosen first and then tighten, because I mean, my strings are a bit loose anyway, because I just loosened it. But if those of you guys who haven't touched the pegs in a while, or your music teacher hasn't touched the pegs in a while, it's probably going to be a little stuck. And you don't want to, like, if it's stuck, you don't want to force it tight and all of a sudden you go too far and the string snap. That's pretty common. So you actually want to push and then loosen it first, so you have a little bit of give, and you make sure you're doing this with your parents. You're not doing this by yourself. Do this with mom or dad or whoever that's an adult and can really follow instructions. Okay, so I'm gonna push. I'm gonna loosen it a little. So lefty loosey. I feel my A string loosening. Okay, so it's like super loose now. Okay, and I'm gonna keep plucking as I tighten. You hear the pitch going up. I'm watching my tuner. match it, make it go all the way up to the A sound. And that's about right. When you get it pretty close, so it's a little flat right now. Okay, if you look at it, just a tad flat. So if you get it pretty close, that's what the fine tuners are for. Okay, so I'm gonna go down here with my fine tuners, and again, righty-tighty to bring the pitch up. Okay, so when I'm talking about pitch going up or down, up means you want to make it more sharp, closer to the A sharp to bring it up. And if I went too far, okay, and you still have a little bit of give on your fine tuners, you're gonna loosen it to make the pitch go flat. Okay, so it'll bring the pitch down. Okay, so that's what I mean by when I say bringing it up means more sharp. Bring the pitch down means more flat. Okay, so right now I'm just under, so I'm a little bit flat. Okay, so I want to bring the pitch up, so I'm going to tighten my fine tuners. And you can see that it went up. It's spiking all over the place because I'm talking and it's picking up the words that I'm saying. So anyway, so I just tuned my A string just like that, from like it was way over here because I had loosened it to show you guys. Okay, so for every string that you feel like it's not in tune, so obviously make sure you download the app first. You pluck each string to see if it's matching. If it's in the vicinity of that area. Most of you guys should be only a little bit out of tune, so you might get away with just adjusting your fine tuners, which is actually really the best case scenario, because if all you're doing is touching the fine tuners, you really don't run the risk of breaking strings. I don't think your strings should be breaking if you're fiddling with the fine tuners. Strings break when you fiddle with the pegs too much and you over tighten it. Obviously strings break eventually because they just get worn out. So I wouldn't worry too much about it if that does happen, but it's just the issue of strings being accessible right now and how you would go about getting a new one if you wanted to practice with it. Okay, so remember your string names for violins. Okay, so you're trying to match the lowest sound to the G. Okay, that's the G string. Okay, the next one is the D string. Next one is the A string. Okay, and then next one is the last one is the E string. Okay? All right, so and then the same thing, you're gonna follow the string all the way up to the peg that it belongs to, and you're gonna turn that peg. Okay? And always watch the bridge kind of as you go. If your strings are super loose, and you start messing with the pegs, your bridge might sort of get misaligned, and it'll start to like look slanted or about to fall off. So you kind of want to adjust the bridge. Most of your violins should have like a little, not a groove, but kind of a little marking there, because the bridge has been sitting there for so long that you'll know where the bridge like feet go. Okay, so if you look at my bridge, you can kind of see where they go, and you want to make sure it's straight and not like slanted on either way. If it is, you can try to fix it, but always use two hands. Okay, and always put it on like your lap or somewhere that you have a good hold of your instrument. All right, so again, key things are push towards. Okay, so if I'm tuning this peg right here, push towards the scroll, then loosen, then tighten. Okay, if you're touching pegs over here, lefty loosey is that way, so loosen. Okay, push, loosen, then tighten. And get it as close as you can, but it doesn't have to be super exact. Okay, that's what the fine tuners are for. Get it pretty close, and then use these fine tuners here at the bottom. Okay, so each fine tuner goes to that string or that string. Okay, and again, lefty loosey, righty tighty. Okay, and try to match it to the pitch of your tuner. So the tuner app is pretty important. Find one that works for you. If you feel like you have a pretty good ear, or someone is in your house as a musician, the best way is to broadcast the A sound. Okay, and just try to match that sound. Okay, and then if you want, you can broadcast D. Okay, and we'll broadcast the G. And you can change it to the lower octave. Sounds like a G. And then an E. Okay, and try to match that sound. Okay, that's pretty much it. So don't be too afraid to kind of mess with the pegs. Just be careful not to over tighten. And that's it.